All right.
You're live.
We're live?
We're live.
We're still alive.
It is 7 o'clock Arizona time. So wherever you guys are in the world, in California, I guess you're an hour earlier.
Which is November 30th, right?
Yeah, last day of November.
Yeah, tomorrow's first day of December already.
Tomorrow's December.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Hey guys, hope guys are all having a great night. It is going into a weekend. We got a lot of things going on. We just want to kind of get on here and let some people, are people coming in yet? Let some people come in. We're going to do a Q&A. I want to talk for a second, but I'm going to let Dad kind of do an update on how you're feeling and how your rehab's going.
Yeah,
for those that don't know.
Most of you know, but for those of you who don't, I had both my knees surgically replaced. And the doctor, I went in to the doctor a week or so ago, and he just was almost ecstatic at the progress that I've made. Said just great. And I'm walking a mile a day. My knees are still a little uncomfortable if I get up and sit down. My knees are still uncomfortable, but they're doing great. One of them is 5 months ago I had it done, and the other one is 2 months ago I had it done, and they're both progressing really nicely. I'm walking a mile a day. I've got a little track laid out on the property of a fifth of a mile, and I'm making either 5 or 10 laps on that daily. So I'm either walking a mile or 2 miles.
So springtime we'll be back fishing again.
Yeah, by springtime I'll be going to Idaho trout fishing on the Salmon River.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is about these, what are we calling these? Friday night with Dave and Eric? Yeah, Friday nights with Dave and Eric. So what we want to do essentially is do these every Friday night. A 30-minute, around 30-minute scheduled Q&A. It's really going to be based around Q&A. But what we're doing is we're placing the LTSs that we've done for the last several years. There now won't be any LTSs. We'll be doing demos on Mondays and Wednesdays, mostly demos. And then on Fridays, we'll be doing this live Q&A. I kind of feel like the more questions that we can answer for you guys, the better it is for you, the more value we can bring you guys. So that's kind of, you know, our idea behind this. And so wherever we're at, the cool thing about this, doing this live, after this is done, it'll post right to the channel, and it doesn't become a big production as far as setting up demos and stuff for Saturdays.
And there may be times that we have something special that we want to show you.
Yeah.
So we'll introduce that here. If it's some kind of a new pattern, a new template, or something that we think would be of interest to you and be of value to you, we'll make that as part of the content of this this Friday night thing.
Yeah, but and there may be some little demos that we can do here that's not sawdust making that we might be able to do some little demonstrations. But basically, we want it to stay pure Q&A for you guys. If it works out, that's kind of what we're hoping for. So that's our hope for this thing.
And they're popping in from all over: Maryland, New York,
Excellent.
Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Texas.
Hey,
thanks guys.
Welcome to Arizona.
Thank you for joining us. So this will be again posted as soon as we're done. It'll be posted. So moving on with the kind of the agenda.
Hi Frank.
I for those of you that aren't on Instagram, and I'm sure there's a bunch of you that aren't, I had the opportunity, Dad and I had the opportunity to go to Phoenix the other day, on Wednesday, and go to a conference, Tony Robbins, Robert Hershevek, and Gary Vee. And I actually had the privilege of being with Gary Vee in a room for 2 hours with 9 other people and getting some advice from him from a business standpoint. So you can imagine what that was like for me.
You suppose there's some out there who don't know who Gary Vee is?
There might be. Gary Vaynerchuk is an author. He is an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, owns tons of different businesses. If you guys don't know who this guy is, definitely check him out. But he is world famous now. Back when we first got our message on his show was Gary V 189 or Ask Gary V 189, and now it's up to 500 and something. Anyway, if you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, you need to go check him out.
He's pretty inspirational. He gives general entrepreneurial advice about how to expand your business and what your mindset needs to be and the steps you need to take. So he's
but the thing that's different about Gary that I like is it's practical information, and he is a maniac when it comes to knowing kind of what really works practically. So
he doesn't use nice language all the time.
Not all the time.
Yeah, occasionally he gets into kind of cursing language, but he doesn't do it disrespectfully of his viewers. He just does it because that's the way he is. So I don't approve of it, but I don't disapprove of it either.
So I'm going to do just a really quick humble brag, because I actually got Gary to do a little 7-second video with me and him. So
all right, let me see if I.
You guys don't need me to say it, but I love this dude. Keep following him. He's doing it right. He's coming from the right place.
It should play over.
Turn it.
You guys don't need me to say it, but I love this dude. Keep following him. He's doing it right. He's coming from the right place.
One more time.
You guys don't need me to say it, but I love this dude. Keep following him. He's doing it right. He's coming from the right place.
Anyway, it was absolutely amazing. If you guys ever get a chance, well, I don't know. If you don't like Gary V, then don't pay attention. But he gave me practical advice of things that I'm actually going to implement and do in our business. Huh? Canada. Sweet. Anyway, so along with that, and if you guys don't know the story, but like 2 years ago, the reason that it was kind of a long story, but basically he picked our name out of a bin when he was doing a live broadcast a couple years ago, and I actually got picked to get 10 signed Gary V books. This is actually autographed by Gary V. I still got a few of them left. We're going to give one away. That's what Vicky tells me. We're going to give one away when we're done here after the Q&A for somebody, and it is a really good book.
All right, guys, ask your questions. I just saw one. Hold on.
So bring the questions. Let's do
wait
it.
a minute. Okay. When laminating 2x4 material for larger signs, do you have any tips if you don't have a jointer? Any common issues that may run into?
Yes, if you don't have a jointer, hopefully you've got a table saw. And if you're going to use a table saw, try and get it as absolutely dialed in as close as you can so that thing is at a perfect 90. Get the best blade that you can get, again, if you don't have a jointer. And with regular 2x4s, they'll be rounded on the corners, what you always called easy edge, like a round on there. You got to rip those off and get that down to an absolutely 90 square edge. Then from there, just get yourself some good clamps. You got to have good bar clamps. I like the Bessie clamps. They're not the best, but they're really good. I really like them where they'll kind of stand up, and you guys can go back and watch some videos that I've done on that. And use lots of glue. Now, if you don't have a really good seam, if you go back and watch some videos, I got a lot of videos on this. But if you don't have a really good seam, I like Gorilla Glue, because it kind of expands and sometimes will fill a couple of those little gaps, but even Titebond will do it. Just don't skimp on the glue. Glue is cheap, especially the Titebond as compared to the Gorilla Glue. Glue is cheap. Make sure you got plenty of glue in there.
Okay, I have another question from Kurt Tuttle. I have an 11-year-old grandson that is interested in routing. Is he too young and maybe should wait a few years?
I don't know.
Or have him go at it. Of course, I will be with him.
Have him go at it. There's no such thing as too young. If he can hold the router, and he can see a line to follow, I wouldn't hesitate to teach a 6-year-old. Now this kid started when he was like 12.
I was actually 11, I think. The first time I ever carved a sign.
11 or 12 when he first started. Even his first sign, because I was there with him to help him, even his first sign was a good sign. And he's just done nothing but improve ever since. So he's taken everything that I've taught him plus what he's learned on his own, and he's as good as you can get when it comes to carving. So I wouldn't hesitate at all. 11, 12, 13 years old.
Yep.
Plenty old enough to start carving signs.
Yep. I've had our grandkids way younger than that with a router in their hand.
Ruben Garcia asks, how do the acrylic paints hold up for outside signs?
You know, that's a really good question, Ruben. I honestly don't know. I don't know if they're, and there's all kinds of acrylics. There's acrylics that are oil-based. There's acrylics that are water-based. Unfortunately, I'm not a paint expert. I really don't know. If I was using acrylics and I'm putting it outside, I would definitely put a finish on top of the acrylics. I would use the Czar water-based polyurethane that I use for my extreme weather exterior.
That's after you apply the paint, then you apply a finish.
Yeah, and the reason I like that on top of any paints that you're putting in there is because it's perfectly clear. It's like water, and it doesn't change the color. If you use a Helmsman spar urethane, it has got an amber color, and it'll turn white. It'll turn it yellow.
Dennis Andrews asks, have you ever used wood dye instead of stain?
You know, I've been wanting to do that, Dennis, and I have not.
Nor have I.
But I really like the idea. I went to Barrett Jackson show up in Vegas, and there was a couple pickup beds that were red and green of the oak, and it was done with dye, and man, it just looks spectacular. So I've been wanting to try that, but I haven't done it yet.
Frank Jenkins, will you consider offering the group sessions in the future again?
Probably.
That is up to
Someday.
That is up to these guys. I'm all for it, and they are kind of
maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't, but I'll go along with the kids.
So why?
Whatever.
So I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, because I'm too old and lazy, I guess.
Okay, Bill.
I'm pushing 90 pretty hard, you know.
Bill says, do you guys make router-based plates for Ryobi?
There's a couple of Ryobis that I made. One is a cordless, and one is a standard Ryobi. I don't know the numbers right offhand.
Yeah.
But I make two different Ryobi router bases.
Yep.
All right, Bob, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up your name. It's Rochon. If you chip an outset letter, do you have a preferred method to repair the letter? Wood putty, sawdust paste, looking for a solution.
Oh, there's a number of ways to repair it, but it's...
I did a video on one where I literally cut the whole letter out.
That's what I was
and I went
saying.
down just a little deeper than the rest, and then I glued a block in there, and then relayed it out on that block and recarved it. And that actually worked. It's time consuming, so you have to judge whether it's worth it to do that. And it's kind of time consuming and it's kind of awkward and stuff. You might be better off just starting over. But if it's a big sign, then it would be worth it.
It depends on how much, if it's the first letter that you do.
Yeah, right.
Then you can repair it that way.
Yeah.
If it's way down into the sign, just depends on how much how much time you want to put into it to repair it.
But one tip on that, try and get the grain going the same way, because I did one time where the grain on the board was going this way, and on that one letter the grain was going that way. It looked kind of odd.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can do that a couple of ways. You can go down with a Forstner bit. If you got a 1-inch letter, you take an 1.5-inch Forstner bit and just go down and make it round, and then go in and put a round piece in there, lay it out, carve it, and once you're done, it's invisible as to what you've done. So there's ways to repair them.
Terry Simmons says, would a 1x18 round that you get from Lowe's need a plywood backing if it's going to be inside?
I don't think so. If it was going outside, I don't trust any laminations that I don't do if it's exterior. If it's going inside, those things are pretty thick. They are a full 1 inch. I don't think they're 3/4. I think they're a full 1 inch.
Yeah.
Those rounds. I wouldn't hesitate making those and putting them inside somewhere. I think you're okay.
If you're going to put a finish on it.
Yeah. I think you're okay.
That would go inside anywhere and last probably longer than you will.
I think you'd be okay without a backer.
Okay, Tony, Badillo. He says hi from Saltillo, Mexico.
Oh,
Badillo,
hey,
or
Tony.
Badillo.
Badillo. Tom Furus just painted outset letters with acrylics paints. If you didn't go on, it just didn't go on as well as you have done.
Yeah.
Went over here and there. How do I keep it on the surface only like you did recently?
Oh.
Keep painting it. I painted those things like 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was real sparse. But the other thing is, the acrylics that we use are water-based. And the sign, excuse me.
Diana's here. Hi, Diana.
Hey, Diana from
Australia.
From Australia. So the ones that we use are water-based. So they're pretty easy cleanup. If it goes over the edge, especially if you've already got a finish on it. This, again, guys, is one of the reasons that I really like a finish on underneath the paint. Because if it does go over the edge, it's really easy to clean up. It doesn't soak into the board. And it's more likely to stay on top and not soak in. It's one of the reasons that I like my finish underneath the color. But then you could, if it's clear finish, you can always put finish over the top of the color again.
Okay,
so that's the reason.
I wanted to show
Check these out.
Hold that up. Brad and Diana from Australia sent these to us. Diana scroll saws those. Look at that.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
That is talent.
I love them.
Absolutely. They're going on
Brad
the wall.
wouldn't put a hanger on the back of it for me. Thanks, Brad. But
on neither one of them.
Neither one of them, but that's okay.
But he signed it. Well, I don't know. That
I
looks
wrote
like
that.
Diana's. Oh, you wrote
I wrote
that.
that.
Okay.
And
But
then
these are totally
Amazing.
incredible.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
And
Yeah,
then
we're really impressed with those.
Susan Alexander sent me that.
So
Yeah,
we got
see
this from Sue Alexander. Did you see that?
Oh, you can ignore the queen, but she's still the queen.
that. Yep. Thank you, Susan. Thank you,
Thank
Diana
you, Sue.
and Brad. Sorry, that was an impromptu. I just had to run and grab
Love
it.
you guys. Thank you so much. Amazing.
All right,
Yeah.
now let's see. Sorry, I had to do that.
So if we go over, it's your fault
I
because
know.
you just.
I know.
Anyway, that's
Hi,
one.
Victoria.
Victoria Mealer,
Yep.
Sweet V. Anyway, so get back to that question. That's one of the reasons I like my finish underneath and then put the paint on top of that because it doesn't soak into the board. It'll cover better. And then you can always put another finish over the top if it's clear.
Mike Hubbard says, if you're to laminate a 16-inch tall sign, what's a better method, using 4 2x4s or 2 2x8s?
I learned this actually several years ago. There was a guy that followed us, Jimmy Huddleston, that used to make these big boards, and it just used to freak me out. He would literally make boards the size of this table and make signs out of it. And he said the trick was he didn't laminate anything that was wider than 3 or 4 inches. So I would definitely keep your pieces no more than maybe 4 inches. Now, sometimes I'll use a 5-inch piece because it's 1.5 inches thick. But especially if it's thinner, I would stick to, you're better off with smaller pieces and more of them rather than bigger pieces. Less likely to cup and warp. I learned that from Jimmy. I don't know if Jimmy even follows us anymore, but he made amazing stuff, made big beds and all kinds of things.
Okay, so Sweet V says, I've had people ask for the rounds double-sided for outside. Would you sandwich laminate it still with the birch plywood in the middle?
If you're talking about the rounds from Home Depot or Lowe's, absolutely. I would absolutely not trust those to last outside unless you had some kind of backer. So if you're going two-sided on them, then you have to sandwich laminate them. To me, you'd be better off cutting your own board and cutting around, laminating a board and cutting it around. That way you can carve both sides of it. But yeah, if you're going to use those, I wouldn't trust them outside without sandwich laminating and put a piece of 1/8 inch plywood in between.
Frank Jenkins says, I love how my nickname for Vicky has quote unquote
taken
over the world.
That's Frank all the way. Yep.
Let's see. We got Alaska.
I hope they're okay up there.
Okay, yeah.
My sister, by the way, any of you guys that know, my sister and brother-in-law live in Anchorage, and they're fine from the big earthquake they had up there today. They're fine. A lot of stuff broke in the house, but everybody's okay. The cat's kind of freaked out.
Yeah, just coming out from under the bed. The Cricket Newbie channel says can't find Czar exterior crystal clear. Where could we get it? Thanks.
So
that's Alan. His name is Alan.
Yeah, you're kind of mixing those. Czar is the Czar product that I use at ZAR is water-based polyurethane exterior, but the crystal clear acrylic, that's a Krylon product. That's in the spray can that I use. That I use that pretty much just for interior stuff now. So it sounds like you're kind of mixing the two. Czar is. And Czar also makes oil-based, and they make all kinds of different things. But the one that I use is water-based polyurethane for exterior.
All right, Dennis Andrews. How do you handle getting several orders at a time? Do you do several sandings, then carving, or do you do one at a time?
I like, and Dad taught me that. Well, you go ahead. You taught me that. I like production of doing. If I've got 6 signs to make, and at Christmas time, sometimes I'd have 20 signs, I would lay them all out at one time. Then I would do all of the outset letters with a profile bit. Then I would do all of the background and production. For me, that just seemed like to be a time saver.
Yeah,
don't you
that's
agree?
the way I've always done it. And
Yeah.
I used to have 20, 30, 40 signs at a time.
Yeah.
I would always prepare the boards, 20, 25 of them, do the layout and do the carving and finish them. It's just,
Yeah.
that's the way I would do it rather than do them one at a time.
Especially, and to be honest, especially if you're limited on routers. If you're using 3 or 4 different router bits, which profile 60, 90, SE50, then you're talking about a lot of time wasted just changing router bits one after the other. Yeah, production. If you've got a bunch of signs to do, more than 2 or 3 signs to do, I do it even when I've got 2 signs to do. I'll do my outset letters first. Anyway, yeah.
Tammy Eastman says, yes, on the Cricut sprayer, what size of air compressor do I need? I'm using a 2-gallon, but it's taking me forever to spray a small sign. What size do I need to get? Thank you.
You probably want a little bit bigger than that, Tammy. I think the 2-gallon will do it, but I like to keep, when I'm spraying either the Czar or the sanding sealer, I think the Helmsman is a little bit thicker, so I keep it up around 70, but for the other products around 50. And if you're spraying a big sign, if you're spraying just a small sign, you can get by with a 2-gallon, but I think you want something the next size up.
And the price difference between the two, if you're buying new, the price difference between a 2-gallon and a 4 or 6-gallon is not that much.
Yeah.
But if you've already got a 2-gallon, go on Craigslist and look for something a little bit bigger. You can buy it for probably a third of or a quarter of the price of a new one.
And it won't stay running all the time like it will with a 2-gallon.
But if you've got a choice, go with a 4 or 6-gallon if you can get one at a reasonable price on Craigslist or on Amazon or eBay.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're doing,
and they're not that expensive even at Harbor Freight.
Even at Harbor Freight, they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
So Brad and Diana, Brad says, thank you so much for that comment, for your comments. We're super glad that you guys loved them. I didn't expect this at all. You guys rock, from Brad.
Is that in Australia?
You guys rock.
That's Aussie Brad.
You guys rock.
Yes, they do. How many coats of Czar do you put on the outside sign?
Generally 3, a minimum of 3, sometimes 4, depending on how it soaks in. Redwood, I find, seems to soak in a little bit more. It seems a little bit more porous. With pine, sometimes just 3 coats, but sometimes with redwood, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 coats.
Probably never less than 3, though.
Never less than 3. Yeah.
All right, we're going to give away the book. I know there's more questions. You can kind of go through and answer those later. So, and I didn't make an announcement or anything because we kind of did that off the cuff.
This was, we figured this out about 30 seconds before the camera went on. Yeah, yeah.
So the first one to respond to the book, the first one, when you start talking about Gary Vee and stuff like that, the first person to respond with an I like Gary Vee or I'd love to have his book, Mike Hubbard.
Really?
Yes, Mike Hubbard. So Mike Hubbard, you won the book.
There you go. Good job, Mike. That was easy.
Dennis Andrews says, I want it. Keep watching the next future one.
You know what? I've got a few more of these, and I won't say we'll do them all the time, because honestly, I'm kind of curious what these things will sell for on eBay. You know, Gary, he always says, you know, take my autograph stuff and sell it, make money with it. But anyway.
William Higgins says he's the one that told us about the freezer paper.
He might be. It's very possible. I get all kinds of
Mike says
tips.
you guys are the bomb.com. Okay.
You got Mike's information?
I've got his information.
Okay,
real quick, somebody asked you what's your Instagram.
Oh, my Instagram is Make a Wood Sign, just like it sounds. In fact, if you watch any of the videos, you'll see a sign behind me that says Make a Wood Sign. So it's just like the website, makeawoodsign.com, but it's without the .com. Make a Wood
He's
Sign.
Excited, super excited. Thanks so much.
Cool.
Let's see if we've got time for one more.
By the way, while you're looking, Monday's video, we're doing another giveaway. It's a Christmas sign. Something super special. You guys haven't seen it yet. We've kind of alluded to it, but
you've been sneaky.
There'll be a video that is, again, something that we've never done before. So don't miss Monday's video, because it'll be a giveaway, and we'll be giving it away a week from now on next Friday. We'll be giving that sign away, but you'll see it completed, done, everything on Monday.
All right, one more question. Ruben Garcia, do you still stand between coats of Czar?
Yeah, I do. I just take a piece of 220 in my hand and
Or
kind of fold it up.
Just real fine.
Just really fine. Because what happens is when you put that first coat on, it causes that grain to stand out. It's more important before the last coat. So if you don't sand between any coats, just make sure you do it before you put your final coat on, because you need to take off that grain that's been lifted up. But I kind of do it in between. It all depends. If it's real, if I can feel it's rough, that grain is stood up, then I just rough it off, blow it off. Some people use a tack cloth to take the extra, which is a great idea. I don't do it.
And even if it's a smooth, if you use a 440 and just sand it, it gives something for that finish to grab onto.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just a real light sand between coats. Okay. But make sure your first coat is dry before you sand and put your second coat on.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Any last minute? You got 2 minutes.
So, again, we'll be doing another Friday live next week, or what we're calling it. I have to apologize. I kind of been calling this Friday live, and I didn't realize, I forgot that Mark and Nicole, Wood Whisperer, they have a Friday live thing, and they call it Friday live. I completely kind of missed it in my mind. So we're not going to call this Friday live. We're going to call it Fridays with Dave and Eric, I guess.
Something. For now, that's what it's called.
That's what it is right now. If you guys have some suggestions, I'm open. If you got something catchy or whatever, we're open. Next Friday, it's possible we'll be doing it from the road. Dad, if we are, Dad won't be there. It'll be me and Vic. And that's when we'll be giving away the Christmas sign that you'll see on Monday's video. So that is it. Hope you got.
How are you going to work that giveaway on that sign?
Frank Jenkins says Friday night fun with the Rotans.
Friday night fun. I like that.
There you go.
Friday night fun. I like that. Frank is full of him.
He is.
He's full of it. Suggestions.
Somebody's calling.
Just suggestions. That's probably Frank now. We're gonna let the machine get it. If that's one of you guys, we'll answer you when we're done. Oh yeah, Dad was asking how we're gonna do the giveaway. Vicky will figure that out.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll be on. We won't have the sign with us if we're gonna be on the road, because we're actually going to California. But you guys will have seen it on Monday's video, and then we'll show it again on Wednesday's video. Wednesday's going to be cool. It's going to be a demo if everything works out right with that gal behind the camera. We'll see. We'll see if it works out.
Carving.
No. Anyway, all right.
They hung up.
I guess it was probably.
All right. Good job, guys.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Everybody.
We love you all. Thanks so much for everything, all the support, all the love, all the comments, all of the great stuff. Thank you so much. And
Friday night with the Queen and her minions.
I'm
Sorry.
a minion.
Sorry,
I
that's
love it.
that's too long.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry,
love
that doesn't fit in the space. You know.
I love that. That's awesome.
Gosh, that was
the
a
queen
mistake.
and her court.
I should have never opened that up. We don't know where that's going to go. Anyway,
And
all
since
right.
I'm the one back here typing in the thing. I
Yeah.
have it.
All right, guys, that is it. I guess. Are we done?
Yes, we're done.
We're done. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll get that book off to Mike. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thank you. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.